At a recent event, I talked about Southwest Florida's office market and why the types of properties that we have here and how they differ from the office market nationally give Southwest Florida a leg up. Take a look at this really interesting clip that helps illustrate it.
You've probably seen some headlines like this in the office market. Pretty scary, right? But here's what matters. Our occupancy rate. We are occupying the space that we have. So looked at the other way, we've got about a 5% vacancy rate in in Southwest Florida for office space. That's in comparison to the national office vacancy rate of 20%. Office is treading water at the moment, but right now, that's a win. So why is it that our vacancy rate is so much better? How are we occupying our space so much better than the national market? Well, this kind of illustrates why. Southwest Florida is predominated by owner-occupied, smaller, maybe 1 or 2 story office spaces that are either single tenant, maybe 2 to 3 tenants. This is in contrast to the larger markets that have multi-tenant, high-rise office towers like Tampa, Orlando, Miami. That gives us a leg up. It's not necessarily that we're doing something so much greater, we just have a far more preferable inventory of office space to occupy and a higher percentage of those properties that are owned by the people who occupy them. But it's not all peaches and cream for office. We've got challenges. So what are these challenges? Well, there's 4 I'll highlight that are pulling on the office market and creating a tremendous amount of pressure. The first one, high financing costs. Nothing we can do about that. The relief will come when rates drop. None of us know when that is. But that is a brutal push on office owners right now that are carrying debt. What else? Rising insurance rates. You've heard that from everyone. You probably didn't need to hear it from any of us. We're all dealing with that. Increasing operating expenses. It's not just insurance, it's not just taxes. Inflation has created operating expenses that have soared on office properties at a level that in most cases they haven't been able to keep up with rent increases. And then finally, hybrid work models. This is less of an issue for us, but it is still an issue. So I just told you that we don't have a lot of multi-tenant office buildings in Southwest Florida, and that's true, but now I want to show you an example of one and why it's probably good that we don't. The truest building in Naples sold last year in July for a little over $21 million. Beautiful building. That's one of my favorite buildings in Naples when I'm driving along that stretch of 41. They were 90% occupied, buildings in great shape. A lot of work had been put in over the years. The rents were higher. But when it sold back in 2015, it sold for over $23 million. And what's interesting about this sale, that property sits on 4.77 acres in central Naples, right on 41. And the sale price of $312 a square foot, that's probably about 70% below replacement cost. It's questionable if that sale actually reflects land value, not an office. So what are we adding in the office area? Well, we're adding what we need: medical office space. Here's one: Premier Women's Care in Cape Coral off Santa Barbara. They're building a 41,000 square foot building. They've got an additional 3,000 square feet that can be leased. Really cool project. Stevens Construction is leading the charge on that. It's getting medical close to the households that need it. And that's what we need here. How about another? Hope Preserve. The next 2 buildings there are just going up. This shot is hot off the presses from yesterday. So lot 4 is a 2-story medical office building that's being pre-leased. 12,000 square feet, Sonobello has already leased, the cosmetic specialist. Lot 3 is associates in nephrology. They'll occupy the entire 11,000 square feet of that building, but it's nice to see Hope Preserve continue to fill out. And again, another example of the type of office we're adding, medical, and that's a good thing. Here's another trend to keep an eye on, though, for office. Brought up this property last year, the Alta Resources property in Gateway. It was in a planning stage of potentially, was someone going to demolish it, do apartments? What's going to happen? It's done. Alta Resources, that building was only built in 1997. Not feasible, not the highest and best use. So what's coming? Well, you could guess it. Apartments. 256 of them, and luxury. Between 5 buildings here. Great product, and having some fun with, yes, another apartment project, but the reality is that's what makes sense on that site. And I think we're going to see a lot of apartments, particularly a lot of office spaces, particularly in infill areas that are underperforming, be converted to a higher and better use.